Here's some nonsense, people. I'm gonna play this nonsense.
What do you mean we're lucky to be white?
It's not luck, it's privilege.
We're privileged that people see us, not a color.
Privilege that we don't get stared at when we walk into the room.
Privilege that we don't get followed by security when we go shopping.
Or pulled over when we're in the wrong neighborhood.
We're privileged because society was set up for us, and our silence keeps it in place.
We're privileged, and that's unfair.
Nonsense. Nonsense. Nonsense, people. Never buy into this stuff, but here we go.
Well, folks, this is the best show on Blog Talk and the best show on the internet. Shut up! Nobody, and I mean nobody, tackles issues like inflammatory talk. Shut up! And Mr. Midnight Movie. Shut up! And Jewish producer.
Hello, son.
Shut up! We tackle the things that nobody tackles.
Hello, son.
The man's answer.
Hello, son.
Stop walking on eggshells. Shut up!
Hello, son.
Goofy Bone can get off his bloviated fat enchilada ass and start talking about La Raza.
Hello, son.
Jocking it, Pimp Daddy Joe P. Jocking it, Pimp Daddy Joe P. Whipping the skippy all day long.
We're making a movie about white guilt. We're going to examine all these facts. Shut up! The civil rights movement today basically protects criminals.
Okay, stop interrupting me.
We're making a movie about white guilt.
Okay, stop interrupting me.
Shut up! We're making a movie about white guilt.
Done in a beautiful fashion. The documentary, at the same time, both prose and poetry.
It's not the noble movement that it was.
I'm above you on all these issues. I've been to the military. I have served in the capacity to protect your rights to bloviate. To protect your rights to bloviate.
Who are you to tell me what my style is, you meth addict?
I've been to the military.
How do you know I'm a meth addict?
I'm above you on all these issues.
How do you know I'm a meth addict?
You haven't served in the military. In fact, you wouldn't be fit for the military.
I'm a racist, and I don't consider myself an especially evil person.
What's this got to do with the price of rice in China?
Well, I'm just telling you, I'm a better man than you are.
You're a narcissist. We've established that.
Okay, stop interrupting me. You could not defend the very rights you enjoy. You are the ultimate invalid.
I put stock in you. I'm wondering why Mr. Solutions isn't on every daily show.
What's this got to do with the price of rice in China?
Money. I'm into aviation. Money.
Power.
Money.
Power.
Man boobs.
Shut up.
I see why Sick the Tank daddy kicked his ass and kicked him out of the house early on.
Man boobs.
Shut up.
I'm going to talk over you as loud as I can. I've got my speaker full blast to blow you away.
Shut up.
Mr. Midnight Movie.
My name is Delano. I have killed Mr. Midnight Movie. I stabbed that son of a bitch.
This is
Money.
Power.
Money.
Power.
tired.
Money.
Power.
Money.
Power.
Well, hello, folks. I am your host, the inflammatory but diplomatic Mr. Midnight Movie, and I am here all by my lonesome. And I am really angry. It may not sound like that, but I am very, very upset at what I see is the civil rights industrial complex. Now, somebody calls this a test. Apocalypse said that this is a test. I wonder why he said that. I wanted to play this thing again, and I wanted to just play it again, just to really show my disgust with the civil rights industrial complex. And the fact of the matter is, these individuals have a lot of enablers. And this is the University of Minnesota. These people, the schools buy their books, and it's really kind of sad and rather disgusting. I just want to play this again so folks out there can hear it. It's been a while since this kind of thing has been played, but it is a belief. It's a belief amongst the left, and it really promotes racial narcissism, and it makes a lot of assumptions. Let me play this again.
What do you mean we're lucky to be white?
It's not luck, it's privilege.
We're privileged that people see us, not a color.
Privilege that we don't get stared at when we walk into the room.
Privilege that we don't get followed by security when we go shopping.
Or pulled over when we're in the wrong neighborhood.
We're privileged because society was set up for us, and our silence keeps it in place.
We're privileged, and that's unfair.
That is the Unfair campaign in Minnesota. And anytime you battle against this sort of thing, you get basically pounded.
Let's come back to America where...
So I'm going to play a little bit of Michael Savage here. Here we go. Oh, my God, that thing just keeps going. I might have to turn off the notifications. Let me see if I can turn off these doggone notifications. Because they are just... I might have to just shut this down. Oh, God. It's still going. Okay, I'm going to play Michael Savage versus White Privilege Caller.
Racism is perpetuated on a daily basis. Revolution stimulated on a daily basis by the couple in the White House who are so full of it, it's frightening. They're the most elite, pampered people in the United States of America, as are all leaders. And yet they keep pretending they identify with the lowest and the poorest. How does that work? Chris, welcome to the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hey, what's going on, Mr. Savage? I just want to first tell you that you're highly respected, and I just want to let you know that I'd like to challenge you on your white privilege, sir.
I don't understand what you're talking about. Could you make your point? You're trying to be very, very smart and white privilege. Okay, now I'm trying to make your college point.
I have a simple question. Do you support reparations for the black Americans in the...
No, I don't support reparations for anybody. Next question.
Okay, then you're part of the problem. Because
why don't you start with reparations? You have any extra money in your pocket?
Trickles down, does it not, Mr. Savage?
No, I said, do you have any extra money in the bank?
No, absolutely not.
Well, why not? What, are you stupid? You couldn't save any money at this time in your life? You don't even have an extra $100 you can give to a black person?
It's because of white privilege. I do a lot. I do what I can. I'm against this white privilege system every day.
Tell me, my friend, where did you pick up this disease, this mental disease?
Ah, man, are you going to assault me on the air? But it's okay, though. It's not a disease.
No, you're a mentally ill white man. If you're buying into the lie of white privilege, you're a mentally ill white man. When the Irish came here, they were treated like slaves. Do you know that? Did you know it said Irish and dogs need not apply? Are you aware of that?
Mr. Savage, let's not lose.
No, don't give me the Mr. Savage garbage. Every race that came here that was poor was picked on. Stop already with buying into this white privilege crap. Your grandfather would be turning over in his grave to know that he produced a weakling like you for a grandson.
Mr. Savage, do you know that the blacks are the only ones that were forced to come here? Are you okay with that? Did the Jews have a choice to come here?
Why is this all of a sudden a problem? Why is it that the races were moving together until this communist appeared in the White House? And now all of a sudden, all we hear is about grievance. Are you going
to listen, boss? Because
why should I listen to you? You're an ignoramus. What's there to listen to? What have you said that's worth listening to? You've just had the largest audience you're going to have for the rest of your life. No one is ever going to listen to you again.
One issue at a time, Mr. Savage. Can we agree that wealth trickled down? Can we agree that in the 50s that blacks were not given a fair opportunity as the whites who were...
I think that was all fixed in the 60s, wasn't it?
You know, actually, Dr. King's got a speech about it that is...
Wasn't it all fixed in the 60s? Excuse me, what world are you living in?
Check Dr. King's...
Can you show me inequality in this country between any race? Go ahead. Show me the difference in human rights and civil rights between any race in this country right now. Don't talk to me about the past.
Choice, that's the difference. That's the difference, Mr. Savage.
No. I asked you a question. Show me one right, one civil right or human right that a black or a brown person does not have in this country. Name one.
You want me to be honest? Civil rights is one of the worst
I
things.
just said to you, name one civil or human right that a black person does not have in this country today. I want to know it.
Narrative, and I'm not falling into your narrative.
I'm asking you to answer the question. The reason you can't is because you know there's no answer that will satisfy your propagandist lie. You are a left-wing fanatic, and you think that by joining your revolutionary buddies over a joint once in a while, you're empowering yourself. All you're doing is imprisoning yourself and keeping yourself down. You'll never move ahead in this country because you're filled with the same hatred that Obama puts in your head. And that's why you're a loser. That's why you don't have an extra $100 to give away to a black person in the street.
You couldn't handle being black.
Why don't you have an extra $100 to give away to a poor minority? I was going to suggest if you owned a house, you should give it away to a gang member. Or you could turn it into a crack den. You give it away to a crack gang if you feel so bad about yourself. Why are you lecturing everybody else? Give away your money instead.
I'm hitting a nerve. Only way people talk about things.
I don't know who it is. Probably someone just trying to pull my leg. It's good because I just had chocolate ice cream after the heavy meal and I was feeling a little tired. That stimulated, helped digest the chocolate. Actually, it's a non-dairy ice cream. It's very good. I found a new one. It's made of almond milk. Oh, is it good? God. I'm finding I don't even want to drink at night after I have this thing. It's like carob. It's the sugar. I know what alcohol is. It converts to sugar. I get it. I have a doctor in the field. But I can't sleep at night. That's the problem. Between this show and talking to morons like that. See, the reason he's listening to the show is because he knows I'm right. This is what happens. They start out by hating me because I'm touching a raw nerve inside their stupid white heads. These are the kids who went to stupid low-life colleges like Harvard, institutions of lower living. They were lectured to by LGBT psycho leftists from hell. They start to hate their own race. They hate themselves. They come out of school. They don't understand why they can't get ahead. And then they look around. They see the world passing them by. And they start to listen to a show like mine because I'm making sense to them. So they start by hating me. Then they try to debate me. They don't get anywhere. They listen for months. And before long, they're actually agreeing with me. After a year, they call me up and they say that they actually realize I was right all along. They're sorry. They usually get a haircut. They buy new clothing and they go out and get a job. Before long, they're a human being. They're no longer beating up police horses and breaking the windows of McDonald's on weekends. Okay, that's the story. The fact.
All right. Well, that's just one person. And he was banned in England, by the way, Michael Savage himself, banned. And the gay agenda, like that, Stabby. I love the gay agenda. But the left and the civil rights industrial complex seems to it's a large propaganda. It's largely a propaganda and a censorship movement today. Much of it, from what I see and what I observe, it's largely a large propaganda and censorship movement, and it is something that is forced in every stratosphere of the Western world, not only in America, but throughout Western Europe as well. I want to play the currency of victimhood of the way of the world. Now, I don't agree with everything that this person says, but I agree with a large extent of it. So, without further ado, this is Way of the World. Let me just play this real quick. It's called the
conservative author.
The Currency of Victimhood. Here we go, folks.
Pat Buchanan is an American paleoconservative author, commentator, and broadcaster. I prefer to think of him simply as a nationalist. I'm sure many of you are familiar with his work, but for those of you who are not, I want to read to you a piece of his from 2008 that exposes so much about the double standards of our time and how deranged our public discourse has become. Enjoy. A Brief for Whitey by Patrick J. Buchanan. How would he pull it off, I wondered? How would Barack explain to his press conference he sat silent in the queue for 20 years as the Reverend Jeremiah Wright delivered racist rants against white America for our maligning of Fidel and Gaddafi and inventing AIDS to infect and kill black people? How would he justify not walking out as Wright spewed his venom about the US of KKK America?
Why are we listening to this recording?
Quiet!
My hunch was right. Barack would turn the tables. Yes, Barack agreed. Wright's statements were controversial and divisive and racially charged, reflecting a distorted view of America. But we must understand the man in full and the black experience out of which the Reverend Wright came. 350 years of slavery and segregation. Barack then listed black grievances and informed us what white America must do to close the racial divide and heal the country. The white community, said Barack, must start acknowledging that what ails the African American community does not just exist in the minds of black people, that the legacy of discrimination and current incidents of discrimination, while less overt than in the past, are real and must be addressed. Not just with words, but with deeds. And what deeds must we perform to heal ourselves and our country? The white community must invest more money in black schools and communities, enforce civil rights laws, ensure fairness in the criminal justice system, and provide this generation of blacks with ladders of opportunity that were unavailable to Barack's and the Reverend Wright's generations. What is wrong with Barack's prognosis and Barack's cure? Only this. It is the same old con. The same old shakedown that black hustlers have been running since the Kerner Commission blamed the riots in Harlem, Watts, Newark, Detroit, and 100 other cities on, as Nixon put it, everybody but the rioters themselves. Was white racism really responsible for those black men looting auto dealerships and liquor stores and burning down their own communities, as Otto Kerner said, that liberal icon until the feds put him away for...
All right, I'm putting this on quiet for now. Do you have anything to answer?
Oh, thank you. Well, I really enjoyed the accent of the presenter when he was saying that the same old cob. When's the last time that you had the same old cob, old chap?
Well, the same old cob?
He said it was the same old cob. You know,
The same old
like eating the same old cob of corn that you've been gnawing on for years. It's only got maybe one kernel left.
Oh, my heavens.
Maybe we should save that one for the sensitive one.
Yes.
You know the one. You know the one that's most sensitive. The one when she heard that I called in said, "Oh no, not on the show. Don't put him on. Don't do it."
Yes. Who said that? Don't put you
What
on.
is the point of the show tonight?
The point of the show is my anger. I am who I am. I'm an angry person. Very angry.
You?
Yes.
Are you more angry than the Jew?
Yes. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to gauge someone's anger, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in the Jew's head. All I know is that I'm angry and I'm stewing about it. It's probably not the best way to deal with it, but I am angry. I'm angry at.
Well, what's got your head in a pickle tonight, sir?
You know what? I look at the censorship that's going on, and I look at what I consider to be the civil rights industrial complex, and how much of it is forced upon us, and a lot of white guilt and the so-called white privilege that is forced upon our, not only in America, but throughout Western Europe. And it does anger me, Mr. Jew. And I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know I think we're in kind of a fight in this country, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to it. I mean, my ancestors, helped build this country, build a constitution and things like that. And I feel a lot of it's being taken over by manipulators and real candy asses. I mean,
rabble rousers and marauders.
You know something? Our nation defeated
under God
people of the Bushido Code, who would stick blades into their abdomen, and were giving in to the worst kind of ego. Just I don't think they're tough. I think they're mean, and I think they have power at the moment. And I can't believe that we're giving in to such, I don't know, ego victim.
Well, now, Mr. Midnight Movie, if I may, did we not just get the Mueller report that has got everybody up in arms? I listened to what I could listen to.
Yes.
People gnashing their teeth and saying, "Oh no, couldn't be. Why? How could Mueller say that there's no Russian collusion?" Now, what do you say to some of the retards who listen to your show? And you do have some retards that listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to them when they say to you that Trump was guilty of this and guilty of that, and he was just such a bad man? Do you feel vindicated? Does it make you feel like you want to take that knife and just put it less into somebody else's gut, preferably not your own?
It makes me, well, as many times as they have been proven wrong, and the fact that CNN is being sued, but they're doubling down, it almost feels like that.
Well, will you pray with me for a minute and please pray to Jesus, dear Jesus, please give Brian Stelter the cancer.
Yes. Now he is a tribesman like yourself, by the way. What would you do if you had a son like Mr. Stelter?
Oh, well, that would present problems.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe I could leave him living. No.
Yes, but he is now. Don Lemon said Don Lemon. This is the biggest unanswered question. So let's take a look and see what Don Lemon has to say.
Well, it's Don Lemon.
Is it Don Lemon? Oh.
Yes, it's now Don Lemon.
Don Lemon. Here we go.
What we got today is a summary of Robert Mueller's findings. It is not the entire report. And what we have learned, quite frankly, it raises a lot of new questions as we move forward. One of the biggest questions tonight, why did Robert Mueller not come to a conclusion on obstruction himself? Why did he leave that to Rosenstein and Barr? Because we should remember it was William Barr in an unsolicited memo that brought him to the attention of the White House. It was him who called Mueller's theory about obstruction, quote, fatally misconceived, and who said, quote, the obstruction claim is entirely dependent on first finding collusion. So what Barr was saying there seems to be if there was no collusion, there was no obstruction. We'll dig deeper into all of this with our legal experts in just a moment. So I want to turn now to questions about collusion. So make no mistake, this is a good thing that Mueller found no collusion with Russia.
Goodbye, Debbie. Goodbye.
What's that? Do you have any comment to make?
Oh, Debbie is leaving us. She's being butthurt, and she didn't get the attention she wanted.
So, are you? I thought that you and Debbie were made up. Is that not?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes, indeed. In fact, she wrote me a lovely, lovely message the other night,
Yes.
wanting to do shows with me, acknowledging my draw and ability to make her sound good. I've got the screenshots.
Yes, sir, you do. You have those screenshots.
I do. I made the screenshots. As soon as I saw them, I said, I must make a screenshot. Because I'm such a gifting person, you know. Why, you know what I've just gifted my son?
Now
chicken pox!
I have
chicken pox! I gave him chicken pox!
Now I've just had a call here.
Yes.
Let me Angela Utley, political Woodstock.
A very good friend of Debbie's, I must say, someone that has the utmost, in the higher echelons of Debbie's head, someone who lives amongst the giants.
Yes. Now I'm trying to add people to the hello.
By the way, I'm drugging the boy as we speak. Don't scratch it. Your head will come off. Oh my God. He says he's not even scratching it, but I just saw him. He was scratching it, poor thing. Oh, he was scratching around it. Yes, that's what they call nibbling. A cheese nibbler.
You are coming in awful.
I am?
Yes!
All right, well, hang up and call me back. Maybe I can fix this.
No, she sounds very good to me now.
Yes.
Is that better?
It's better.
And by the way, it would be you're coming in awfully, not awful.
Yes.
You know, I've been a supporter of yours when I greet you. I don't understand the hatred. And there's a topic here tonight. There is a topic here tonight. What is your official topic?
Well, my topic
Why didn't I give the boy the vaccination?
Okay.
The unvaccinated boy got chicken pox.
What? You think that's funny?
Hey, look at them. Oh my God, look at all of them. Do you think the chicken pox are funny, boy? He says, yes, they're funny.
Is this because of the shingles that you have? Or have you recovered yet?
Yes, I gave him chicken pox.
Folks.
Now he's covered in
let's listen to what Don Lemon had to say. I would love to.
Don Lemon.
No, I don't like the Don of CNN.
It's Don Lemon.
Don Lemon. Now,
okay, fine.
CNN is being sued.
Not Lemon.
CNN.
It's lemon.
Lemon, tomato. Let us go on.
Oh no, it makes a very big difference. Then you call him Don Lemon. It has a sharp, bitter edge to it, but when you call him Don Lemon...
Sir, may I please play the clip, please? Thank you.
Please play the clip of Don Lemon, yes. Please proceed.
Russians did interfere in our election. They spread disinformation on social media.
The Russian.
And they waged a hacking campaign that included stealing emails from Hillary Clinton's campaign and from Democratic Party organizations. The special counsel determined that. And the Attorney General acknowledged that in his letter. So why has the president repeatedly deferred to Vladimir Putin, who's an enemy, who waged an attack on our democracy? Why did he publicly take Putin's word over that of his own intelligence chiefs?
My people came to me, Dan came.
Yes, do you have anything to add? You are an inside man.
Well, may I add to this only?
Yes,
That
yes.
What did he want to do? What did he expect Trump to do? Punch Putin in the face right on stage?
Maybe kick him in the groin. Or maybe in the shins.
Kick him in the ball. A good game of Rochambeau.
I've done plenty of that in my day. Let us go.
I have
Yes.
no doubt that's a good excuse for many of your maladies, yes.
Thank you.
But
Yes.
why would you play a game of Rochambeau with John LeMond?
I've never even heard of that game. I've heard of Squeeze the Penis game, but not Rochambeau.
Oh, yes, it's a very favorite one. But I'm sure you watched South Park and seen a good game of Rochambeau with Cartman.
I haven't watched that in years. Let us continue to play. Can we?
Yes.
Oh,
Please
yes,
do.
indeed. Let's
Some others
continue.
I
Oh,
think
God.
it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this: I don't see any reason why it would be.
I believe him. I believe him. It wasn't.
Okay, let's be quiet. Let's see what President Trump has to say.
Why is it?
It was a very strange man from a foreign land.
Don
Let's play
Lemon.
the quiet game. Let's try the quiet
yeah.
game.
The quiet game, and then
Please.
we'll play Twist the Penis later. Twist the
From a
Penis.
foreign land by the name of Podesta.
I'll tell you what, if you can be quiet for at least 30 more seconds, I will tell you how great and wonderful you are.
Yeah, please begin right now.
Taking away.
No.
And when will we learn about more details about what the Attorney General in his letter today describes as, quote, multiple offers from Russian-affiliated individuals to assist the Trump campaign? We might be able to get a lot closer to answering some of these questions if we could see Mueller's entire report. The DOJ official tells CNN the process of determining what else can be released and scrubbing it of grand jury material, that process has begun, but there's no firm timeline for releasing more of the report. Democrats say that they'll settle for nothing than the full report.
Okay, you almost made 30 seconds. Try again.
Yes.
Oh, no, it was more than 30 seconds. I know that.
No, I had a time. No, 27 seconds. You were almost there. Let's try again.
Now, this man looks like
Oh, I know, I don't think so.
Gerald Nadler. Now, he goes... Nadler.
I think that's Kislyak.
Now, by the
No,
way,
that's
do you think-
Kislyak.
Who was he?
Does he look like he's a part of the Judiciary Committee? Mr. Nadler, does he look like he's ever
He's
had...
another man with the left hand.
Does he look
He's
like
got the laparoscopic hand. And now he's a thin little chewy man, but just as potent and annoying.
Without checking, he sounds
He
like
has
he
an
was on the
he has an
judiciary.
Asian child in the back. What nationality do you think the Asian child is?
Okay, I'm going to take a look.
Yeah, there's an Asian child in the back of Representative Gerald Nadler, an Asian boy.
Oh.
Well, he has on a red hat. Would that make him Chinese?
No, he's part of the P.F. Chang clan, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you think?
Do you think he's bringing?
I know.
Yes. Do you think he's bringing Chairman Nadler, Gerald Nadler, Chairman of the Judiciary Committee? Do you think he's bringing him Chinese? I see a lot of Chinese food back there.
Fried egg rolls with extra mustard.
Yes. Yes. So let's listen to Mr. Jared.
Oh, all Jews with laparoscopic belly bands love mustard.
I bet they do.
And the underlying evidence. The entire unfiltered report, as well as the evidence underlying that report, must be made available to Congress and to the American people.
The biggest unanswered question tonight may be, will we ever get to see the full report?
No!
Abby Phillips is at the White House for us this evening. Abby, good evening to you. We appreciate you coming in late on a Sunday. So listen, Mueller found no collusion, or which is coordination and conspiracy is really what his letter says. We all know how many times the president said that According to this letter, the report says he is right, but did not exonerate the president of obstruction. Despite the second point, the president and his allies.
Well, stop right there, Mr. Midnight Movie. That's a very important point.
Yes, it is. I agree. I agree with Mike Hart here.
You see, the Mueller report did not absolve President Trump of Russian collusion. But also, I must point out that the Mueller report did not absolve President Clinton of possibly diddling the little Chinese boy behind NADMA.
Not Clinton, Trump.
Oh, I'm so sorry. If I heard diddling, I thought of Clinton. Yes, it did not. The Mueller report did not absolve President Trump of diddling the little Chinese boy with the red hat, holding the mushrooms and extra mustard.
Yes. Let us continue, please.
And also, President Trump was not absolved in the Mueller report from playing the game of Rochambeau with his father years ago.
And make these blanket statements about both collusion and obstruction. On the collusion point, you're right that the president is correct that the report was pretty clear. There was no collusion that was found between the Russians and the president's campaign. But on the obstruction,
doesn't mean it wasn't there. It was they had to be there somewhere, Mr. Midnight Movie. Had to.
This was not an exoneration. Look long enough, Angela, you'll find it. Look under every rock you can find. Go out to the lake. Go out to the lake and tip the rocks. Look underneath every one of those slimy rocks.
Obstruction is a criminal offense, is it not, Mr. Midnight Movie?
Criminal, yes. Yes, he was not absolved of the obstruction.
That they don't believe there's sufficient evidence to be charged with this. And we heard the president's lawyers saying that this idea that there was no collusion,
What we need is a good cob roasting party. Get everybody else with cob.
Don Lemon, calling in to talk with Mr. Midnight Movie.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
There's nothing better than when you have a chief
I am angry.
They're so on point and good.
I am angry.
So I just
corral that monster.
I just relish when he does the voices. He's so good at it.
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
As he falls to his face.
Yes, I'm going to be making my coffee now and going out and getting drugs to the boy I gave chickenpox to.
Yes, you've given a boy chickenpox.
Did he really?
Yes, I did.
Good for you.
He's got chickenpox.
Yes.
A pox on all your houses, even if you live in condos in the middle of Chinkland that just had an election, but they don't talk about it.
Now, I'm going to play one, and this is just for a short minute.
Let's hear some Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yes, he has.
The
reason God doesn't...
And Lord Donald man, but I would love to hear some Brian Stelter.
I would love to hear some silence from you.
Yes.
Please proceed, Mr. Midnight Movie.
Tell me that Brian Stelter to little Picasso to
in American politics,
separate the bits.
Only we have the
in charge of Space Bear says, Jesse, can you please explain to us again why God does not want us smoking pot? And just a reminder, socialism always ends in starvation and genocide.
Well, personally, smoking pot is the reason that God doesn't want you to smoke pot is because he wants you to have a clear conscience. He wants you to have his mindset. But when you're on pot, that's impossible. Because it dumbed down the mindset, even though you believe your mind is, whatever you believe, is clear, but it's not.
Oh, Jesus
so that's
Christ.
why. But the Democrats,
Jesse Lee Peterson, I love Jesse Lee.
They can control you. When people are on pot or in a fallen state, they can be controlled.
Is this
So
a
that's why
senator or
not a
anything
clear
like
conscience,
this?
not a clogged.
He is a radio host.
It's a very, very uppity black man who will tell you exactly how things are. You
Oh.
should listen to everything that he says. He's black.
Uh-huh.
Yes, here we go. Now,
And an idiot.
here we go. A black man drags ATM into a bus.
Oh my
There's
God.
a video
You
that
can't
went
refer to
viral
just
on
Peterson as
Tuesday,
an idiot.
and it's of a man from Newark, a black man.
He's black.
From Newark, New Jersey, attempted to drag an ATM machine onto a bus.
Yes.
It looked like he was trying to steal the whole
In
entire
the old mother
ATM
country,
machine.
Mr. Midnight
Watch this.
Movie, dragging ATM machines was considered exercise.
Yes.
I've seen really serious. Yeah, I've seen really. Really violent.
Oh, this is very interesting. Tell us what's going on.
Well, he's trying, folks, he is trying to take an ATM machine that he stole onto a bus. Which
He's not even lifting it right. You should drag it on there, not push it on there.
He's going to get himself one and he's going to need stitches.
Yo, this nigga wild. Got the closed on him.
Oh my. Maybe he was trying to facilitate the nice people on the bus and give them pocket money.
Oh, there goes the bus.
The driver will never know.
Oh, no.
Yes. How can you steal if you don't have a bus ride?
Oh, and he's an ugly man.
He is, I guess. But how can
The nose, that is. Look at that nose.
Oh, he's a.
He's just me.
And he's wearing orange. I mean, come on.
Well, you're not allowed to say these because he's
I
a
don't
black
like
man.
that at all.
Hey.
You can't say that the black
What
man
was wrong with
is
this
not
man
a
thinking
pretty
that nobody was alive or eyes were open to see that he's trying to drag this thing? And then he got mad at the bus lady, thinks she was just going to let him on with this.
How you know it was a lady?
machine. The lady, she's like, no. And I'm thinking like, she was just going to let him on and then he was just going to drive in a bus with his ATM machine and get dropped off at his destination and keep him moving. The thought process of that one was insane.
That was from, we got that from NJ 101.5. That's when you play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
That's
This guy trying to take the whole machine on the bus.
during the day.
The New Jersey Transit shared the video on their Twitter and asked customers to add a caption to the video.
He's got very little hands.
Yes. So I'm going to play this thing.
You don't hear me.
Shut up,
Please.
please. Shut up. I don't want to hear you again. Just shut your mouth, please.
Oh, Jesus.
This is, by the way, I've just become interested. This is a sex therapist, and I just want to watch just a little bit.
Is there any theme to your show?
The show is called. Hold on a second.
The show is called I'm Not a Jew and I'm Angry.
No, you shut up. Stop.
Well, it's true he's not a Jew, and he is angry. Go ahead.
I am who I am, and I want to watch this right now. This is a female sex therapist. Likes it all. Shut up. Just shut your mouth. But hang up on everyone if you don't shut up.
But Debbie wanted to do a show with me.
Oh, that's enough. Come on, let's watch the video.
Just talking the whole time and not allowing anything to happen.
I come from a very conservative Christian background. I grew up in the church. I went to church 3 times a week.
Wait, we'll introduce you first.
About the first 20 years of
Georgia Hill, a sex therapist.
Oh, the same guy?
A sexuality and relationship coach. First, I got to ask about the tattoos.
Okay.
So you have a bunch of them, and tell us about them.
So the ones that are probably the most visible are obviously the ones on my arms here, and you can see they wrap around a little bit.
Yeah.
This is the state flower of Oregon, which is Oregon grape. I grew up in Oregon. I lived there for about the first 20 years of my life.
Oh, okay.
Moved back and forth a little bit.
Oh, that makes sense.
I grew up right outside of Portland.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
a little town called Beaverton. And I decided to get the California state flower, which is the California poppy. So it represents where I'm at now in my home. I consider California my home, and
Okay.
where I'm not planning on leaving.
And so how many do you have?
I think 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My show is called The Fallen State. Do you believe that human beings are in a fallen state?
I want to ask you specifically what you mean by that, because then I want to know if I agree or not.
They've fallen away from what is right.
Mm-hmm.
They've fallen away from God.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't believe that.
You do not believe that?
No, I
and
do
why
not.
not?
I come from a very conservative Christian background. I grew up in the church. I went to church 3 times a week. I was homeschooled.
The Church of Scientology.
Pretty typical conservative.
I told you,
fundamental Christian.
if you don't shut up,
beliefs.
I'm going to slap you in the
yeah.
face.
Wow.
And I have really gone through my life and experienced a lot of things and really examined my own belief system and made choices that have made me incredibly happy. And none of that has to do with the church. So my personal opinion is that this idea that human beings are sinful, that they've fallen away from God, all of those things, I don't agree with it.
So were you raised by your father?
I was raised by both my parents.
By both parents? And they both were Christians?
Yes.
You're no longer a Christian?
No.
And do you believe in God?
No.
You don't believe? Do you believe there is a God?
That's sad.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So the possibility is there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there is certainly the possibility, but for me personally, I don't identify with that concept of some sort of greater power that's overseeing and managing humans' lives.
And so what made you turn away from Christianity? What happened that caused you to turn away?
It's been a long process. When I was 19, I went to a Christian college for 2 years. And it was a less conservative Christian, structure than I had grown up in, because I had been raised in an environment that there was no room, there was no wiggle room for any kind of questioning. I was taught to make decisions based on, this is what the Bible says, this is what God says, or this is what the pastor says, and so that's what we're going to do. So throughout my time at Christian college, I did start to kind of question some of the beliefs that I had been taught.
Right.
Because I was being presented with some different options, and I also grew up in a very small church, so there was also not a lot of diversity as far as the types of people.
Not a lot of wiggle room in that
So
church.
did you grow up?
Tie them down tightly.
Shut up.
I wouldn't say that I did, no.
And why not?
That's a complicated
This is so
question.
sad.
I'll try to make it as simple as possible. I love my parents, and I would never say that I had not a loving relationship with them, or not that they were loving, but there were a lot of factors at hand with my parents and with my family dynamic in general that made it very challenging emotionally. There wasn't a lot of room for emotional expression, or, like I said, personal expression in any way.
Were they a living example of what they were preaching and learning in church, and did they live what they said?
Over-modded.
Yes and no. For an easy answer, yes and no.
Meaning what?
There was a lot of emphasis on what other people thought. And so the face that maybe we presented as a family was different than what was actually happening at
That
home.
happens a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing. How do you see your father?
I think that he is a very loving, generous, and sacrificial man who also has a lot of his own demons and a lot of his own challenges that come from his background.
Right.
That he has found comfort, and he has found structure, and he has found a place to kind of have a foothold in Christianity. But I also think that he has a lot of love and openness, and that has unconditional love for his children.
And how do you see
He found a place with Jesus.
That's a very challenging question. I think that when I've been able to distance myself from my background, I'm 33 years old now, I think I'm able to recognize that my mother has gone through a lot of trauma and a lot of really difficult situations throughout her life. And the way that she's decided to deal with that is to basically envelop herself in religion and ignore other ways of dealing with it. So I think it actually causes a lot more damage to the relationships with her children.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now she ties down the grandchildren ever so tightly in the car seats. So there's no
Have you
wiggling.
forgiven them for the mistakes they made and the way they are? Have you forgiven them?
I try to.
Have
I
you
try to.
told them you forgave them?
We don't have those conversations.
Well, why don't you have it?
I've thought about it. We'll see.
And why haven't you had it so far?
It's painful.
In what way?
It's painful.
And we're listening to this Mr. Midnight movie. Why?
I think that's
Because I found it interesting and I find you boring.
Well, tell me what you find interesting about what she said. Were you tied down tightly in the car and not made to wiggle?
Any type of sex.
And she had tattoos.
Were you a wiggler, Mr. Midnight Movie?
I am interested to find out what type of sex this woman has. And I'm interested in... Shut...
Lesbian sex, that's what she has.
You guys need to hush. When I'm talking, there should be nobody else talking.
Can you believe that? Okay, go ahead.
Why are you doing
What about when you play...
All right, I'm interested, by the way, to find out, and I'll play a couple of minutes, and then we can make some commentating on this.
Okay.
Do you think? Hold on. Hush. You know
More clips. More wire clips.
Please listen. What do you think of this woman? By the way, any comments of what you?
I think she needs to be tied tightly to the chair and thoroughly trounced by her ex-husband.
I'm very horrified at her tattoos. Did you see all those
No
tattoos?
wiggling. No, I'm making spaghetti for the boy who got chicken pox.
Well, are you going to play the clip or no?
Yes, I'm going to play. Wait, hold on. Okay, you need to be quiet. When I'm talking, remind you, no one else talks. You're going to get belted across the mouth in a minute.
All right, no wiggling.
Sorry, I couldn't help.
No, but it's mainly when angry.
I know.
JP, shh, quiet. You're being obnoxious. I'm going to fucking take a belt to you. JP, what do you think of this woman?
You sound like an owner who can't control his pet. He's continuously barking, and you keep standing there going, "Shut up," to the dog, but the dog doesn't understand what you're saying, so it keeps barking.
Yes.
No, he raises his leg to pee on his shoe.
Yeah, right?
Well,
maybe takes a big dump right in the kitchen.
I can't hit him with the belt buckle across the face because he's not near me. All right, folks, let me play this again.
All right.
Between us, and it's also hard because I've recognized
She's talking about her parents.
Yes.
Despite all the personal work that I've done in my life for my own personal development, there's only so much. There's limitations, I guess is what I can say, between the ability that I think that I can have to have a relationship with them, because they don't believe the same that I do, and they come from a perspective that what they believe is right and what I believe is wrong, or how I live my life is wrong.
Do you believe that they did the best that they could do? They gave what they had.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they were able to do better or be different, they would have.
Yeah, I think so.
And so why not just tell them that and realize that they can do themselves and just forgive them?
I think I
Mr. Midnight Movie.
at certain times.
Where's the sex?
You have to tell them.
Okay, we're getting to that part now. Just be quiet. I control the audio, and you need to be quiet, please.
I don't know if I've ever actually said those words. I think we've had some of those conversations, but I don't know if it's been that specific.
But you haven't said, you know what, I'm sorry for being angry at you for your weakness. I realize you've done your best, and I'm wrong for being angry at you because you did your best.
I don't know if I've ever said that.
Will you say that?
Have you ever said that? Has anyone said that to their parents? I'm
What about a good half Asian boy?
All right. Angela, have you ever said you're sorry to your parents for being angry?
For being angry, no, I didn't do that. I did a forgiveness thing, especially with my father.
How did you do this? Tell me. As my father died, hooked up to the dialysis machine, waiting for death.
Dear sweetheart, I think the greatest power, or one of the greatest powers a person can possess, is forgiveness.
Yes.
Because it really doesn't do anything for the other party, but it does so much for yourself. You know, for me, I found a way of letting go of emotional baggage, you know, trauma, all that. Not that it went away overnight, but it just was a paradigm shift for me. In answer to your question, Mr. Midnight Moon.
We're going to get back to this show is from the Fallen State. And I don't know. I haven't seen this one before, but she is a sex therapist. I want people to kind of get a view of this woman. So I'm please when I'm talking, please don't talk when I'm talking. So all right.
I had to bring food to the little stricken boy,
all right.
The half Asian boy with chicken pox.
Thank you. Listen, okay. So I'm going to play another segment of this show. This woman is a female sex therapist, and sex with women, men, bondage, and sadomasochism. So.
Oh my! Say that again.
Sex with women, with men, women, bondage, sadomasochism. Ooh. Thank you.
Ooh!
Oh, I know what she's about already. Go ahead.
Maybe.
You do, Angela. Angela, tell me, did your father beg forgiveness?
You be quiet right now. The show is on.
Did her father beg forgiveness? Or did he just spit in her eye like a camel?
This is not your show. This is not your show. You're going to get
Let's hear what she has to say. I think this would be a good time for it.
This is one of the reasons why I don't bring you on, because you are overtaking it. I don't care what you say. Just say it at the appropriate time when it's your turn. It's not your turn.
Is it in the Mueller report? I'll just read that.
I no longer hold anger against you.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
You have on your website, you're a very, very interesting person.
Yes.
And so I'm looking forward to this conversation with you.
Thank you.
You say that you used to associate sex with shame and restriction.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that.
Obviously, we've talked a little bit about how I grew up.
Right.
The conversations that we would have around sex were very implicit as opposed to explicit. So they were implied. There was a lot of implied, you're not going to have sex until you're married. It's only okay for a man and woman to have sex, and only within the confines of a marriage.
Right.
By the
No
way,
wriggling.
quiet. Quiet. When I'm talking, listen, respect the host, and be quiet.
I wish it was in the Mueller report.
Listen, when the host is talking, no one else should talk. But this woman's name
The hostess with the mostest.
All right,
yes.
Please be quiet. Shut your mouth, please.
So that dog.
Her name is Georgia Hill, and her website is in the page, The Fallen State, which I've put on there, by the way. And JP and I might visit this place because I have sexual dysfunction.
Is she a porn star?
She may be, and she may be. Who knows? All right, let me continue.
Now, will she meet you at Leah's place for a good reaming of your ass?
I don't know. We won't find out until it's done. All right, folks, let's continue.
You could combine a little sex therapy with some hydrotherapy.
Yes.
It might be good for you.
Would you like to ream Angela's ass?
No, this is not about me. She provides, she provides an experience that most people would never get from, let's say, the war down the street. They don't get that from them. But they get an experience with her. So I'd like to hear about what she provides.
No, you can get a good experience from Leah, and she's right down the street.
All right, hush up. Please hush now.
Things that are too sexy, that's sinful. Dressing a certain way, that's sinful. Loving many people or having sex with many people or having a relationship with someone of the same gender or having, relationships that involve more than two people. I just grouped it all under this category of, we don't talk about that.
Right.
And so that idea of shame.
Yeah.
And also the idea of, even though all of that is shameful, there is this one tiny acceptable aspect of it. But we're not going to talk about that unless you're married and you're married to a man.
And so, are you having sex?
Yeah.
And at what age did you start to have sex?
Right around 21.
And what made you do it then?
I had been experimenting in other ways. I hadn't had any kind of penetrative sex at this point, but I had, experimented with oral sex or, manual sex and making out and those kind of things. And I think there was a part of me that was like, well, I've done all of this. I might as well just do this too.
Yeah.
I think that's a very common reaction. But I think I also was having this inner conflict of, why is this wrong? Why am I being told this is wrong? Yes, it's in this book that I've been told that is the ultimate guidebook for everything. But it didn't feel congruent to what I was experiencing.
Right. And so, have you had sex with a lot of guys?
Mm-hmm.
A lot? Around how many?
Oh, I don't know.
What's that book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
So many that it doesn't matter to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why so many?
Because I think that experiencing pleasure and sharing consensual sexual relations with another person is one of the best things in life.
Amazing. And so, have you had sex with girls too?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And how many girls?
No, I don't count. I don't think there's any reason to count.
So, how do you find these people to have sex with?
Oh,
she's quite proud.
Over the years, I meet people through friends. I meet people in social situations, on the internet, on apps, all sorts of ways.
Who do you prefer, girls or guys?
I identify as queer, and my personal definition of queer, many people have many different definitions as well.
Yes, me too. I'm a bit queer.
All right, shut up!
I am attracted.
I want to listen to the woman's definition of queer. I don't want to hear you. I'm listening to the show.
Her definition of queer would be what happened in the place down the street
I will
when they put things in your ass.
I will punch you. I will fist fuck your face. Please hush.
People, and I'm attracted to energy and chemistry. And so for me, it's not about their genitals or their gender expression or their gender identity. It's about that person and who I'm attracted to. I tend to be more attracted towards men that were born men and identify as men. But I have found myself attracted to lots of different kinds of people and have enjoyed experiencing them. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between having sex with a man as opposed to a woman?
Oh man, that's like asking the difference between, one guy and another guy. To me, every experience is different.
Do you judge other people?
I think we all do.
How about you?
Do I judge other people?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I do.
You do
At
judge,
times, yeah.
but you don't like to be judged. Why do you judge?
Oh, I try not to. I actively try not to. I try to work on that part of myself. But I think that it's something that we all can't escape to a certain level because we've been socialized to put people in boxes. We've been socialized to.
I'll bet she puts lots of people in boxes. You don't see her.
So are your parents aware that you're having sex with boys and girls and many guys and many girls? And
Well, they will be now if they watch this.
and how do you feel about them knowing it?
That's a commercial.
Oh, I love Barkins. Woof.
Yes.
Woof.
I'm going to go on her website right now.
I think you
She used the word experience. She used the word experience.
And she
just like I
sounds like
said.
Angela. You notice that she sounds a lot like Angela?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Her voice sounds very much like Angela.
Really?
By the way, Angela, have you been asked by Debbie to do radio shows with her?
Not really. Why?
Well, she asked me.
Well, Maybe she likes to do a show with you. I can't explain why she did, but she did.
I don't know either. I don't know.
Okay, well, let's get back to the sex lady.
Now I'm going to.
Can I read Debbie's email to me?
No.
When did you receive it?
I received it 3 days ago.
Why can't we read it? Can we hear this or no?
I don't care.
Yes. Yes.
Well, what about Mr. Midnight Movie?
I'm going to do it in a. No, this is even better. I'm going to do it in a Debbie voice.
Is it okay, Mr. Midnight Movie?
I don't give a shit.
I want to ask you something. Okay. When I listen to you and I talking on my shows, it's interesting to me. I would be willing to do shows with you, just you and I, with my doing pre-work and having many topics to discuss. Taking callers would be optional. Discord shows are a thing of the past for me. I know we could not be available every night, and frankly, I don't want to do shows every night, but there's a certain good chemistry when we talk, much more so than others who just seem to be on their own agenda. Sadly, I allowed Discord to come very close to destroying my podcast. But after I spoke to Phil today on Facebook, he said, with your talent,
oh my God,
you can rebuild, but you have to re-listen to some of those Discord clusterfucks. So sadly, I allowed Discord to come very close to destroying my podcast.
She did.
But Phil says that I must learn a lesson. So I forced myself to re-listen to some of those Discord clusterfucks, and I'm done. Let me know your thoughts.
Well,
Mr. Midnight Movie, this is a screenshot that I just read.
Okay.
Yes.
That was wonderful.
That was horrendous.
Yes.
I think your reading really sucks, but
Now she's angry with me. Now she doesn't like me anymore.
Why not?
Oh.
I don't know. The door swung completely around so quickly, I couldn't even see the opening. And she blames you, Mr. Midnight Movie.
Why is that?
She says that because I was on your show, that I disrespected her. She put herself out there for me.
Mm-hmm.
This might be a good pairing, though. I really think she's got something here. I mean, Mr. One Angry Jew? Mr. One Angry Jew?
Yes.
Mr. One Angry Jew is talented. You know, I mean, listen to the voices he's done tonight. You know, he can think on the spot. You know, he's never boring. And he's confrontive.
I've never written in the media reports. Woof, 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 woof.
Meow.
Voice.
God bless his soul. God bless what gets him
that voice. Come on. He's being a pain in the ass. Shut up already.
Yeah, I wish
it would be a good match.
I'm so tired of listening to that lousy fucking Jew.
Lousy. Can we move on? Let's go. Come on.
No, we have to know where
you're
we're
the
going.
one that egged this on. Let's
Are
hear
we
the
going
email
to
he
go
said.
Let's all meet at Leah's and do a good ass reaming together.
Oh, Jesus.
Whoa.
You could do one of those, what do they call that? The centipede ass reamings? She does that. That's where she puts a tube up Mr. Midnight Movie's ass, and a tube comes out that goes in your ass. And you clean everybody out all the way down the line. It's like a lane.
Oh, that was too much
Come on,
of a
Angela.
visual. No,
Come on, Angela.
no.
You know that
Stop that right now. That is enough. Down, boy, down. I swear. That's just gross.
Yes.
Go another route. Go another route. Not that one.
Okay.
JP,
we can
JP,
ruin your ass.
Listen,
You
chicken
can
house.
yourself
Please
a
hush.
midnight movie.
Sometimes you're worse than the smell of a chicken house.
Yes, or chicken pox, don't forget. We gave the half Asian boy chicken pox.
I'm tweeting, by the way, JP. I'm tweeting to Georgia Hill. I just wanted to say I enjoyed you. I said I enjoyed you on the Fallen State. I'm tweeting to you as well. If you want to tweet to her as well, she seems to need more followers, and I'm following her as well. Thank you.
Nice.
He does. She looks a little butch to me.
She does.
She looks like she wants to be in charge.
She looks a little
This
butch.
is our future,
Aunt.
our fate, and our choice to make.
Yes.
You know, I've come to a place in my life where my authenticity and my honesty is kind of one of the most important things to me.
Yeah.
Because I fought so hard for it. And I have come to a place where I'm willing to have some of those conversations.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
I am so excited. I can't believe it. Finally! Thank you so much.
Probably the most alike out of any of my siblings. My youngest sister is the only one that is still would still identify as Christian, I believe. Yeah, the rest of us have.
You have brothers as well?
I have one brother. He's older. He lives on
And
the
he
East
turned
Coast.
away from Christianity?
Yeah, I don't know at what point. I'm not super close with him. We've had some conversations. The more the conversations we have are kind of more about some of the experiences we had as children in our home and the relationship with our
How
parents.
does he feel about your lifestyle?
He is very supportive of me. All of my siblings are. And they don't necessarily understand it or want to do the same, but they've
Right.
never, ever judged my choices.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, let me ask, do you have perfect peace now within?
Perfect peace within. That's quite a phrase. I would say that I am very happy and content in where I am in my life right now.
But how about peace, perfect peace?
I don't know if I would describe ever feeling perfect peace in my life because I think that that's a little bit of a high standard to try to reach.
And so even though you're doing what you want to do in life, you still don't have, it doesn't bring perfect peace.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that because I think that's a pretty strong phrase.
Your website say that you explored your sexuality in sex-positive communities, like Seattle, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Los Angeles. What did that teach you about yourself and your identity?
I
'Cause
started.
those are some major cities that you.
Yeah. I like major cities. That's where I like to live. So when I first moved to Seattle, I was recently out of a relationship and kind of like, oh, what am I going to do with myself? It was kind of my first, serious relationship. And I was also wanting to kind of resolve some of this inner conflict that I had been carrying around. Do I believe this? Do I not believe this? What do I believe? Where do I want to go with my life? So I actually started researching and looking into the BDSM world, which would be, whips and chains, dominatrix, that kind of stuff. But essentially it's, bondage, discipline, sadism, masochism. It could talk about dominance, submission. So I started researching it. And again, I was, my concept of it was what we might see in the media, some woman in a leather cat suit with a whip whipping some guy.
That's an image I have now.
Yeah. Oh man, you'd be surprised how many people don't look like that though.
Really?
Believe me.
So were you the one that got whooped or did the whooping?
Well, to start off, I wasn't doing anything. I thankfully said, you know what? I need to find the people that know about this. I need to get connected to a community. Don't just start hitting people with random things. And I started doing some reading. I started getting connected with some communities online, and I ended up getting into that community there in Seattle. And I think what I really learned about myself was that when I allowed myself to be authentic in what I wanted and what I enjoyed, that it was incredibly fulfilling. I think that it also gave me the opportunity to have freedom in my other parts of my life, not just my sexual life.
Right.
As
So did you get beat, or did you beat others?
I like it all.
So you like getting beat? Or whooped?
There is an element of it, yeah. So the concept of BDSM is that, number one, you talk about consent. You talk about
Right.
willingly entering into this arrangement.
So what has happened to you in that? What have you gone through in that lifestyle?
I've experimented with a lot of different things. It's not something that I do regularly, but
Right.
it is something that is a part that I identify as part of who I am.
So like what?
There's all sorts of things you can talk
What
about.
do you like then?
There's spanking, there's flogging, caning. You talk about face slapping. You can talk about the psychological aspect of it, which is humiliation and dominance and submission. There's a lot of different
That's
elements.
amazing.
Yeah.
And so you like being treated that way? It's a turn on?
Within that context, yes.
It's a turn on.
Yeah. In my life, day to day,
Right.
no.
Right.
I'm a very, I'm very self-assured. I have a very strong personal identity, and I also demand a lot of respect from the people in my life.
And so,
but there's a certain freedom to entering into a consensual situation where you are agreeing and you have an agreement and a trust and a bond with whoever you're playing with. We use the word play to talk about engaging in this behavior. And it's an opportunity to really step into a realm that is a suspension of reality. You say, okay, here's the agreements. Here's my consent for you to do this, that, this, or that. And granted, you can stop it at any time with a safe word.
So let me ask, does the pain feel like love, or does it feel like sex, or does it feel like what?
There's so much more to BDSM than pain.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So when you are being treated this way,
Mm-hmm.
does it feel like love, sex, or what? What are you getting from it? What type of satisfaction?
I would say that that's a good question, because there's so many different elements to talk about. But I believe for me, a lot of times it is a psychological and physical release. And it's not just about sex. There's many times that I've engaged in these kind of behaviors that have nothing to do with sex. And it's a moment of connection with someone. It's a moment of sharing something with someone that's really intimate.
So at the time that this is happening, do you feel that this person care about you, loves you, and that's why they're treating you that way?
Yeah, it's an agreement
to me.
Yeah.
And so, have you been beat by? Have you been beat by? So have this happened? Have men and women done this to you?
Yeah, I've played with a lot of different kinds of people. Yeah.
Who do you prefer?
Pause this for a second, dude.
Yes.
All right. Angela.
Yes.
What the hell were you? What happened? Did you have something to say?
I was just saying she's talking about the experience versus just having a sexual encounter. That this is deeper, and for her it's deeper because she gets to control everything, and there's a power surge with that, and it's more erotic if you're the person controlling it. At least in my opinion.
Well,
Yes, and
that's
Leah
power.
controlled the flow. Leah controlled the flow. Leah from down the street.
You say she's in power because she's open to this type of sex, or is she? Because she didn't say anything that overtly says she, takes a power role or even initiates.
Oh, but it happens. It happens, JP. I mean, when you're in a BDSM
What
relationship
about Leah and
or
her power role
experience.
with Mr. Midnight Movie? What about Leah and her Mr. Midnight Movie reaming? The good ass reaming. No wiggling.
You just had to talk, didn't you?
He couldn't handle it. He's getting sexually aroused.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know
No
about
wiggling.
that. Yeah, I think of him more as my uncle, truly.
He takes
The
Paul's
talented
Uncle
uncle.
Uncle
Yeah,
Uncle
that's
Maury,
right.
It's Viagra like they're Tic Tacs.
But I'm listening to her, and I think, oh, I understand. I went through that. I went through this. Just different. It's a progression. It's different type of maturity, and that's what she chooses.
Have you had a good hydrotherapy session with Leah?
Well, folks, is there anything else to add?
You're cutting it off.
I think of anybody on this call, Angela is the one deserving of a good hydrotherapy session. Angela, you're full of shit.
Are you really ending it, or are you going to play more of her?
Should I? Do you want to play more of her? Were you interested, JP?
Yeah.
She is interesting, I must say.
Bloviating in the middle of it, and I was like, okay, well, maybe we should stop for a second.
I prefer to.
Can you play her?
Will you shut up? Shut up! Shut up! Shut your mouth!
Can you just play
Get him a muzzle and send it to him.
Shut up!
Oh, please, down the mountain. Don't read me too hard. It's not in the Mueller report.
Let me play this and just do not talk through it, okay? I control this show.
Okay.
Shut up.
Of chemistry with someone.
All right, I will.
Someone, so I really don't have a preference.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And so if a person is not that way, are you attracted to them?
Not what way? I'm sorry.
Like believe in beating you, slapping you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Are you still attracted to that kind of a man that's not into that?
Yeah.
And what attracts you to that kind of man that's not like that?
There have been lots of people I've dated that I've shared sexual experiences with that have no interest in that whatsoever.
Right.
And so for me, when I find someone that does share that, it's one element of our relationship.
Say that Joan Rivers
And so
used to say it, and the reason I'm saying it is because we want to talk about another comedian.
And then this might be a part of it as well. If it isn't a part of it, we still have that respect and trust in building the relationship.
And so when you have sex with a man or woman, but a man, you like rough sex at all times?
No.
You don't?
No. I'm a very varied creature.
That is so amazing to me.
And I think that you would find that with most people that enjoy a variety of, outlets, whether that's sexual outlets or other types of things. Just because someone's a gym rat doesn't mean the only thing that they ever like to do is lift weights.
How often do you get beat?
Oh, I don't do it very often. I haven't done.
It's like once a month, once a week, every other week.
I don't. I
or-
don't have it scheduled in my Google Calendar right now.
So do you decide? You know what? Let me go get beat tonight.
No, when it happens, it happens. Especially when I've moved to new cities, it takes time to, get involved in a community and find people that I'm interested in, and it's a part of a priority for me, but it's not my number one priority. Like, oh my God, I got to find someone.
So are there like clubs in the community that you go to? It's not like you meet someone and go to their home and they beat you.
It's much safer to go to an established club, to meet someone through someone else that you know, to establish trust, to establish accountability and responsibility for that person.
So you decided to become a sex therapist. Why?
I was at a point in my life where I was deciding to make some changes. I had been working in kind of a traditional office corporate job, and it really wasn't right for me. It just didn't feel right. It was very unfulfilling. And actually, my best friend, she's like, I think you should think about being a therapist. You should be a sex therapist. She's like, you're really good at talking with people. You're very open and
Very good at sex. Why don't you be a sex therapist?
But on top of that, I'd always had
Mr. Midnight Movie, will you be going to see this woman?
engaging in sex, but
None of your business.
the whole aspect of human sexuality.
He's already added her on Twitter. So have
I've
I.
always been very fascinated by it and human behavior. So I started researching programs, and I actually found a program in Philadelphia, and I went out there. So I did a master's program. And throughout that program, I actually kind of explored more of what I wanted to really focus on, and I kind of honed it down.
And so do you have an office where people come to you, or, and what do you do as a sex therapist? What
She works out of her home.
This is how
Does she have a hydrotherapy unit?
People think they hear sex therapist and they're like, "Ooh, that must be sexy," and I was like, "No, not really." So you go to therapy, or you go to a life coach, and you talk about life. You talk about stuff that's challenging for you. You talk about things you want to change. You talk about things that have been difficult in the past you're trying to work through. Same thing when I see my clients. But it has some sort of element to it that's either about their sex lives, about their sexuality, about their gender. And that could be even just part of what I work with.
Oh, okay. Do you have sex with the clients sometimes?
No.
So you don't demonstrate how they should do it?
No.
Oh, I see.
No. So there are people that provide those services. That might be more instructional or might be more educational.
Mr. Midnight Movie just took her off his list.
What kinds of people do you work with?
I work with individuals and couples, so I don't.
All right, that's enough. She disappointed me. I'm kidding. I don't give a shit.
Have you been calling? Yeah, of course. Have you been calling her all this time?
No. What makes you say such things?
I think you should bring her on your show, Mr. Midnight Movie.
Maybe I will.
Yes, especially for things not to do in a BDSM relationship, or what part of the body, not to strike. Informative.
The ass reamer.
If I were to do
report from her first.
If I were to do a BDS session with Uncle Maury, it would be a smash to the face.
Oh, every call to your show, Mr. Midnight Movie, is therapy.
Yes. But let me add, folks, I've been angry, and my anger is less now. I'm now calm, a little bit more calmer, although
yes, he's been beaten down,
yes.
whittled away. Yes.
No, he's fine.
The anger has subsided just a tee bit. JP, do you have anything to add before I end the show?
I helped.
Yeah, thank you. Is there anything to
add?
Oh my God! Please
end the show. Please end it now.
Yes, it's going to be over.
Okay, folks.
Thank you for having me on. I think you should have that one lady on.
Maybe I will.
Or maybe I can find some other people to be on your show
there we go.
On what not to do.
Yeah.
Informative.
Maybe Angela will join us for one of your hydrotherapy sessions.
Thank you.
Oh, Jesus. But I will say one thing. If you're going to go into the BDSM, anything to do with the pain, do not strike the hips because the nerves are closer to the skin than any other place in the body.
Yeah. Oh my. Good advice from Angela.
Yes, I have many more tidbits
on Blog Talk Radio.
Of organic advice.
Waste of time.
Are you getting mad at me?
Shut
Is
up!
Uncle Maury getting mad?
It's the best and the worst at the same time. Shut up!
All day long.
We're making a movie about white guilt. We're going to examine all these.
Yes.
The civil rights movement today basically protects criminals.
Okay, stop interrupting me.
We're making a movie about
yes.
white guilt.
Okay, stop interrupting me.